YouTube! The Game Awards is coming up on a decade this year. A show honoring gamers and game makers and everything in between. A literal award show for video games. So for its 10th anniversary, I wanted to go back to its very first show. How well does it hold up? Were the games announced revolutionary? Will there be Imagine Dragons?
Imagine Dragons, including the Imagine Dragons a little bit later. Imagine Dragons.
But before we actually start breaking down this event, I want to take it a step further and see how this show even got the green light. Jeff Keighley, the founder of the Game Awards, which, let me say two things first. Originally, I thought you spelled his name like, but in actuality, you spell his name like, oh yeah. That's kind of raw. That's raw. And then second, I know there isn't just one look that fits all gamers, but does he really look like a gamer? Like, let's be real here. Of course he is though, with his favorite games coming from his childhood, like from the company Sierra, which keep that in mind for later. From the very beginning in 1994, Jeff was already picked up as a journalist to write jokes for this award show back in Canada called Cybermania 94. Insane name. The show didn't really do too well, but to be fair, if you ever watch it, you can get this sense of feeling that they're not really taking themselves seriously. And especially back in the 90s when video game was still on the rise and didn't get that much respect. It's kind of understandable why no one else would take it seriously either, and it went under. And then in 2003, Jeff gets picked up by Spike TV, which let's take a moment of silence for them. Now, I'm not even sure if they're actually dead, but back in the 2000s, you're either watching G4 for video games or Spike TV for badass manly stuff. And they hired Jeff to work on the award show that they made at that time called the Video Game Awards, or also just known as the VGA. Jeff stays with them from 2003 all the way to 2013. And then Spike ends up canceling the VGA because they don't get the viewership that they really want. So Jeff gets a little upset and actually feels like he can make his own award show. And with the permission of Spike TV, the Game Awards is born. So if you follow along and do the math, carry the one. He's got over 11 years in this industry. So if anybody that's going to be able to do this, it's going to be Jeff Keighley. Which now brings us to the very first Game Awards of 2014. As you can already tell, the logo is completely different to what we're accustomed to now. I actually hate all these companies doing this minimalistic look to their logos, but I will say that the logo now I prefer over the 2014 one. The show starts off beautifully with this video just appreciating gamers and where we came and started from all the way to where we are now, and just how video games bring us all together. Beautiful video. And then a live performance from Koji Kondo playing on the piano the Super Mario Bros, which was beautiful as well. Koji Kondo, an amazing musician without a doubt. And then they continue it with a presentation from Reggie Fils-Aimé. Before I go any further, Reggie Fils-Aimé is my GOAT. This guy is the best public speaker in video game history. No one does it better than him. No one can get their point across better than this guy. Reggie just goes on to flex that Nintendo is the best, which, I mean, he's not wrong. And then just shows all the games that have already came out. And then says Koji Kondo is going to be the head music designer for Mario Maker. And even shows some features for Mario Maker. Now, the Wii U is dying at this point. But the grip Mario Maker is going to have on the streaming community, the grip, is going to be insane. So less than 20 minutes into the Game Show Awards, they've already gotten a point. This is going great. So Jeff shows his beautiful face for a little bit, and then we already come up to our very first accident in the show. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a 3-hour long live event, so I'm not going to be too harsh for all their mistakes, but some of them I'm going to highlight, like this one. So they announced the voice actor for Metal Gear Solid Snake, Kiefer Sutherland, to the stage. And as he walks up to the stage, he waits there for a few minutes because they forgot the microphone. To the point when they finally bring him the microphone, Kiefer goes and says,
"That was a bit late.
He's on stage. He needs a mic. Come on." Sutherland goes to talk about the future of gaming and how huge it's going to be, which then he introduces Kojima, which Kojima then introduces Tom, which Tom then introduces Metal Gear Solid, which Metal Gear Solid then introduces Metal Gear Solid Online, which then Metal Gear Solid Online introduces my long lost baby boy that I never knew I had, which, come on guys, like just all coming at once, please. Huge snooze fest, by the way. I really don't remember much people talking about Metal Gear Solid Online. If you were one of the people that are playing it, let me know in the comments if it was actually that good. But for it to be its very first world premiere, kinda lame. And now they announced the very first Game Award. So the very first Game Award that they give out is for Best Performance. So the award ends up going to Trey Parker, which is the voice actor for most of South Park characters. However, when you're in the same category with Melissa Hutchins as Clementine from the Walking Dead series, I don't think that's really fair. When at that time, zombies were at its peak, and all the YouTubers were playing that game and even crying from it, I think she should have won. Another world premiere, nothing too exciting about that. However, this is. During the time where first-person shooters were at its prime, Jeff ends up showing a world premiere for the game called Bloodborne. Let's take a second to think about this. We live in a world now where most games are Souls-likes. At that time, first-person shooters were at its peak. So for you to show the future of what gaming's gonna be, that's pretty incredible. The funniest part was when they showed that trailer off, no one was yelling or getting hyped. Now, if you show anything that's Souls-like in the slightest, the crowd is going crazy. Announcing a Souls-like game.
Souls? Like Soul Calibur? Souls!
We didn't even say what the game was yet. Conan O'Brien jump scare. Did he get you? I hate this segment of the show. I even hate him. Brian O'Conan will show up throughout the show, crack a terrible joke about the box art or the title of the game, because clearly he knows nothing about the game. He brings nothing to this event. Plus, you see this guy over here? I don't know who he is. They don't even say who he is. So, bonus points. He doesn't even laugh. Who is he? Then they play a live orchestra for the announcement of Banner Saga 2, and they don't pick up the main singer's mic. This is a little bit of a hard mistake to notice, but if you really look closely at her lips, you can tell she's already singing. And then when I play the clip, you'll notice that her voice slowly, gradually comes in. Guys, this is the main singer. The whole point of her role is for you to hear her sing. How did you forget to turn the mic on? One thing that the Game Awards show still does to this day is they'll announce the smaller winners off to the side of the stage. I prefer how they do current day, where it's a lot more snappier, they just get it out of the way. In 2014, it's a bit awkward because Jeff isn't a very good talker at this point, and the people that are on stage kind of had the idea that they already won. So Jeff just makes them speak and then kicks them off. Now they go back onto the stage and they announce Trending Gamer. I should be skipping this part, but PewDiePie did not win. PewDiePie. Felix, whatever, skipping it. We're gonna keep going. PewDiePie! Jose Fariz announces Hazelight Studios, and at the time, they're actually working on A Way Out. This is a legendary moment, because if you've been watching the Game Awards long enough, you know Jose Fariz is actually good friends with the Game Awards.
Fuck the Oscars!
He'll even eventually go on to making It Takes Two, which will win a Game of the Year. It's such an incredible moment to see where they started to where they are now. The Game Awards forget to turn their lights on. I guess they forgot to pay the electric bill.
We're back here at the Game Awards, and we're gonna get some lights soon. There you go, just like that. And we are here with.
And all the lights went to Hazelight Studio. No, but for real, the production team is getting fired after this. There's no way they came back for the next year. Another splendid music performance. Yes. The dude you only see at night shows off the next nominee for Game of the Year, Dark Souls 2. Oh my god. Oh my god, cringe moment right now. So the announcers announced Best Mobile Game, and it goes to Hearthstone, which makes sense. The announcers then claim that there's no one from Hearthstone in the crowd, so they're going to take the award and leave.
Hearthstone! Yeah! They unfortunately are not here to accept, so we're accepting on their behalf. Give it up for them.
They cut to Reggie and Jeff says,
"Thanks very much, guys. I think Eric Dodds from Blizzard is here. So Eric, if you're here, come on down. You can accept your award."
So now keep that in mind for a little later. Then Reggie and Jeff start talking about how Nintendo just won 2 awards. First one going to Best Fighting Game, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, and then second goes to the entire Nintendo company for the Best Developer of the Year. 2 awards back to back. You can clearly see the trophy behind Reggie, and here comes Eric Dodds from Hearthstone. And if you remember, his team just won Best Mobile Game, but didn't get his trophy. Now check this move with the trophy. That's my GOAT's trophy, man. Give it back. Even Reggie knows. He goes on to ask where his trophies are.
I'm waiting for my awards. Where are my awards?
Your awards are coming, Rich.
Put Jeff in the hot seat, Reggie. Put him in the hot seat. So was there any games that got canceled before or never got completely finished before? Yes, the game is called Before. The Before trailer looks like dog poo-poo, but he did say it was in early development at the time. And I would assume that it was about you being a caveman with your cave tribe trying to develop it. Interesting concept, but it took until years later in a Twitter post on the Before account for everybody to find out that it was canceled. Reggie then goes on to collect another W for Best Racing Game, Mario Kart 8. Long live Mario Kart 8. But where's Mario Kart 9? Scott Rodney comes in to head software development for PlayStation and starts rapid firing a whole bunch of game trailers. Honestly, none of them are worth mentioning. The O-Man just absolutely shits on Hearthstone for literally no reason.
Is Hearthstone, Heroes, Warcraft, and I'm rooting against this one. I know nothing about it. It just, look at that. It just looks, I'm rooting against this one. Sorry, Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
Still hate that guy. Best shooter gets announced. Me. And now I want to highlight this special world premiere, No Man's Sky. Oh man, at the time, no one was ready for one of the biggest flops in gaming industry. So seeing this trailer and all the lies that it's going to have and all the hype behind it is interesting to see, to say the least. Even Sean Murray, the game designer himself for No Man's Skies, look how stressed he looks. Sure, you could argue that he was nervous to be on stage, but I don't think that's stage fright. That is the look of disappointment and shame. But they come back at the end. It's a long journey, but they get there and they finally get their W, so let's go No Man's Skies. But at that moment, crashing, burning. So you remember how I mentioned earlier in this video that Jeff was really into story games as a kid from companies like Sierra? Jeff ends up making a category called Industry Icons, which is clearly just a homage to the Sierra company. They show a documentary on the amazing couple and how they started Sierra. Also talking about how fast the company grown and the influence it had in the video game industry at the time. And if it wasn't for the Game Awards, I would have never even heard of this company or the games they've made. Little moments like that is why I love the Game Awards. Showing behind the scenes of companies and how they started, and actually showing love to the game developers. The beautiful couple walks on the stage and they accept their award. They mention how they've been retired for a pretty long time in the gaming world, but passes the torch of King's Quest to the next developer team, and they show a trailer for the new game that's coming. That whole moment from start to finish is a 10 out of 10. Also, look at this Chad and how he talks about the gaming industry at the time.
It's a unique industry because it's the only one where you can make this much money, have so much fun, and feel so good about what you're doing.
That was in the 80s, by the way. For him to be talking like that is insane. All the live performances are done so well in the show. After that beautiful moment, we get a solo act for one of my favorite instruments of all time, for a song in Dragon's Quest Inquisition. She's doing an amazing job, all without shoes or socks. The fact that she gave that out for free is crazy. 2014's must have been different times, I guess. Best Indie Game is another unique moment in time because now we're becoming in a world where indie games are doing better than AAA games, even joining the ranks of Game of the Year with games like Hades. So let's appreciate the fact that Jeff showed some light on the indie games. And of course, Shovel Knight won, the OG of indie games. Shovel Knight walked so all the other indie games can run. Another canceled game gets showed called Human Element. I don't know what it is, it looks garbage anyways, moving on. But finally, we're at the moment that we all have been waiting for. The Game of the Year in 2014. This is the main event of the show. So what does Jeff have up his sleeve? You know, what is he gonna do to really hype this crowd? Nothing. He's gonna do nothing. As a refresher for the games nominated in 2014 for Game of the Year, it's Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. So he shows a little recap of all the nominees and then just announces the winner. They learned later to have a live orchestra that play the music from each game. But at the time of 2014, it did seem like it was missing something. It feels so rushed. This is the biggest moment of the show. This is why everybody came here, and it's just underwhelming. So then they cut to Reggie, and Reggie has collected a lot of W's throughout this show. So now it's Reggie's time to give back. And he presents Miyamoto and Aonuma in Japan. And they're playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is an unreal moment to see. They are playing Breath of the Wild, the best game to come out on Switch. And at the time, they were proclaiming it was coming out on the Wii U in about a year. And claiming the development is going smoothly. But okay, we all know the true ending to this story. This game looks completely different than the final project. What they were presenting looked kind of rough, with the horse doing some sus stuff, that paraglider looking like a baby's diaper. But even then, seeing all that, knowing that this will become one of my favorite games on Switch, even going on to winning Game of the Year, provided me with such a core memory. This means something to me! Now for the true ending of the show, Imagine Dragons. I don't care. I really don't. What a terrible way to end the show. If anything, they should have been in the middle of the show, not the closing act. Half the time they're playing their own music. This is not a music concert, this is a video game award show. The only gleaming light is Koji Kondo is there and is playing with them and eating them up. Not a crossover I ever thought I would see, but also not a crossover I ever wanted. So the burning question is, how good was the Game Awards first show? They did have a lot of production value, and some of the games were announced were really boring. A couple of games go on to even getting canceled. And the Game of the Year felt underwhelming, as well as the Talk Night guy always being triggering to see. Showing Bloodborne and adding it to the Souls series, announcing new studios like Hazelight, which will go on to make It Takes Two, even showing Breath of the Wild, 2 games that will end up winning Game of the Year. Indie games getting love at the time, 90% of the music performances were spectacular, and even the whole moment with Sierra was just beautiful. They really knocked it out of the park with their first Game Awards, which goes to show that Jeff knew what he was doing with a decade of experience under his belt. And now, he has another decade of experience under his belt. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with their 10th anniversary. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love making these videos. Every day is our day!